Development Program in Come lecture series. And I'm very happy to introduce our expert today. Today we have with us Dr. Pratish Kumar Bharadwaj. He is professor at IIIT Allahabad. Dr. Bharadwaj received PhD degree in Information Technology from IIIT Allahabad, and he is currently working as professor at the same place. His main research interests are field of machine learning, big data analytics, data mining, molecular modeling, chemoinformatics, and stringology. He has authored more than 90 publications in national and international journals of high repute. Today, he is going to give lecture on practices in research data sharing. Here, I would also like to inform, because of some emergency, Dr. Bharadwaj has to travel to a place where there is possibility of some network issue. So he has recorded his lecture, but he will present throughout the meeting and will answer all the queries raised by the audience. So with immense pleasure, I would like to invite Dr. Pratish Bharadwaj to start his lecture. Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Thank you very much for this warm welcome note. And Manish ji, thank you so much for organizing this particular talk series. Now, I'll request Dr. Iyer, can you please pitch in and start from the CIS biology?
So a very good morning to all of you, my dear colleagues, fellow researcher and students. Today we are here for a 2 hours session, and the title of the session is Practices in Research Data Sharing. It's part of the entire week-long program with the theme Research and Publication Ethics. And I guess every researcher who is actively or passively involved with current day research, where it's predominantly data intensive, I think such type of session is very much required, and I like to extend my thanks on record for Professor Mala and Professor Manish for arranging this entire week of interesting discussion. So, myself Pratish, I am currently working at IIIT Allahabad as a professor, and then we'll be here, we'll be discussing for another 2 hours. And the title of this topic for today's session will be Practices in Research Data Sharing. So I have divided the entire series, or I will say the session, into 4 different blocks. So we'll start with a very simple and very overview of what exactly do you mean by data sharing and why it is required. Followed by, we'll see that even if the data sharing itself seems to be pretty rudimentary and convenient task, but when you exactly want to apply this into the practical field, you come across several challenges. So we'll be going through all the challenges, and then we'll be seeing that what are the different type of solution or strategy currently people are using to overcome these challenges. And then I'll try to summarize everything within a few slides. That is the take-home message, and we'll try to discuss that what is the best practices which can make this data sharing much more effective. So friends, you know that data in the context of scientific research, it is nothing but it's a qualitative value which gives the information about event. Okay, so if there is an event which is going on, and the qualitative and quantitative outcome of this event refers to some information, and they can be collected through a series of data and the series of values, or quantitative and qualitative values. So these are either through observation, through computation, or through experimentation. Okay, so the various forms of such measurement observation may be like images, audio, video, associated software, algorithms, equations, animations, models, or in fact simulation. So all together, we can say they are the entire perspective of data, which will be dealing to study some event, or to simulate some event, or to analyze the event to tell its outcome, or to predict its future outcome. Okay, and I will try to confine my talk more into the area of computational biology. One of the reasons is that I work in this field, and also in addition to that, computational biology is actually one of the branch which is giving the major amount of data added every day into the data perspective. So like one recent research article, it suggested that around 67% of the data which is getting added every day, unique data. Yes, I mean, you have one video which you are uploading 20 times 20 different places, forget that, but unique data which is generated per day, 67% of them are nothing but they are from the domain of computational biology. Okay, so we'll try to take the example or the model, we'll try to see the challenges or the perspective of this entire session, with a hope that the audience can somehow correlate themselves, assuming that we are doing the research in the area of computational biology, because you know that right now computational biology is highly data centric, and most of the problem which right now people from genomics, proteomics or transcriptomics, in fact metabolomics, they find they are into the terms of big data. Okay, so data play a crucial role in advancing the scientific knowledge, as well as it also enables researcher to conduct the analysis so that the finding can be validated, or sometimes some new perspective of the same data can be generated. That is how to make a new discovery using the data which has been shared by someone else. Okay, so if you see this term data sharing, it means that making the research data accessible to the others. Okay, and typically we assume that this is within a scientific community who was, he or she has some idea to know that what exactly the data is telling. He or she has the domain expertise. So categorically I have written this term here, scientific community, because the data is currency these days, but the currency can be appreciated with only those persons who know what this data is all about. Okay, and data sharing essentially involves what? It involves access to the data set or databases in some cases, or it may be a collection of different set of data which is always shared with the hope that the data is shared with a hope that the reproducibility of the finding can be done. I mean, that was the prime concern of data sharing before few years. So when I want to publish a particular work into one of the journal, then most likely I used to get one request from the editor saying that can you share the data. It's to authenticate or to reproduce the result, or you can say it enables the replication of the research result so that the reviewer can take a decision. But along with that, currently data sharing also facilitates collaboration, because if I want to share a set of particular data which I have created through my experimentation, I can call upon my other research colleagues, and we can make a collaborative effort with multi-domain expertise to study this data into a much more appropriate way. And also it promotes transparency in scientific research, because when you are claiming something, you are putting a hypothesis, then your data should suggest, or the analysis of the data should suggest that your hypothesis is correct enough. So that is all about data sharing. Now these are actually the main point which I want to highlight. So one used to share the data. First point is scientific replication, so that somebody can replicate and verify my finding, or essentially the code or the algorithm which right now I have developed on my data, it should be reproducible. The same result should be reproducible, and then only I can say it's a robust scientific fact or scientific hypothesis. Then second point is that sometimes the old data gives a new information if you try to analyze it in a different way. Like for example, that we have the cancer atlas, And the cancer atlas data, which actually is nothing but it's a big pool of all these next generation sequencing files. So if you see the PubMed in last 5 years, you will find at least 500 research article. They are using the same data which has been already been publicly available through Cancer Atlas. So it's not only that whoever has generated this data has the he can directly take out everything from the data. It's already there, so anybody can fetch it, access it, and you can create your alternative hypothesis. You can create a set of new way of studying the data or analyzing the data, and you can come with a new analysis or new perspective or new hypothetical answer to your alternative theory, and then that means we can get some new insight from the existing data set. And the third and one of the very important point is that it also boosts innovation in one way, because you know that when you say that you have the data, then and you can have multiple hypotheses. So just for example, if I have the RNA-seq data with me, and then I know that there are some marker for a particular cancer. Now this cancer marker, which I have just now screened from my RNA-seq data, we can create some diagnostic tool or diagnostic marker on this. So in one way, it's not only the analysis which makes this, the hypothesis which is coming out of the analysis, they can boost another level of innovation, and in fact it also enables the researcher to build upon the data which is already existing. And the fourth and most crucial point is the cross-border collaboration, because you know that when data is already there in a electronic shareable way, people from different country, from different domain expertise can join together, and they can start share and collaborate in academia, and then almost all the joint publication and big grant, they are actually only possible because of this type of cultural sharing and support which the international community gets from the data sharing. So these are all about the benefit and the definition of sharing. Now we'll go through that when we want to share this thing, what exactly is the summarization of this entire thing which just now we have gone through in last few minutes. So I'll just try to summarize it with this 4 point, that this data sharing increases the transparency, it promotes the collaboration, it also gives a alternative way of taking the data with the alternative hypothesis, that is the research acceleration. So it can propagate or promulgate some new research out of this, and then also it gives a mandate that whatever theory or hypothesis we have created from this data, this should be reproducible. And reproducibility is one of the very essence of science. So if your observation and the data and the hypothesis, they are reproducible, then we can say that well, it's based on a solid foundation of science. But apart from this 4 point, which just now we have seen in last few slides, there is something very crucial also to add here. It's data citation. Like if I and one of my friend, we both are doing almost similar work into a particular cancer, suppose, and then I uploaded my work with my entire set of data, and how to upload, how to share it, those are the things we will be going through this entire session. But just assume that I have accepted through a fair policy, and I will discuss what is fair policy. So if I have uploaded the data into the server, and this fellow, he has also done the similar type of analysis, but data is not shared. Then if the data is not shared, then you know that most of the citation will be for paper number 1, because the fellow who is going through the paper, he or she can try out, he can see that how exactly this hypothesis is being built. What are the different intricacies? What are the different type of pre-processing or analysis has been done in this data, and he or she can try also. So in one way, all those publications which has a data shared with them obviously get some more citation. So that is one of the benefit, and for this only right now almost every reputed journal. They ask for the data if the work is solely based on the data collection, and if your work is a hypothesis built on a raw set of data, then sharing the data itself is one of the criteria for most of such publication house. But saying so, there are some typical problem associated with this sharing. So through this entire session, I will try to be much more not into very, I will not go into very depth, technical depth, but whenever there is requirement, I will just touch this particular scenario, or I also will just go through this session in a very conventional way. So the first problem which is associated with the data sharing is ethical. Ethical or legal issues are mostly associated when the data needs to be anonymized, or we say that de-identification. And again, if you want to study it, if there is a way to possible re-identification. And these are very much essential when you are dealing with clinical data. So I'll just tell you one example, like if I want to take the genomic information from 10 individuals, assuming that all are having a particular type of disease, then there is a legal problem that I have to take a lot of legal clearance for this, so there are so many of ethical issues, and then there are institute level ethical committee for data generation, there are bioethics committee, and there are so many of them. And then if I clarify and I will go through all this thing, then also there is a legal boundary which restrict me to go beyond a certain limit, that how much I can share. So for all this practical purpose, when you want to take the data from the person or the individual, we take this process of de-identification. It is simply hiding the name and the address or phone number and all these things. So I think for most of the practical purpose, age and gender information will be sufficient. But sometimes also age and gender information along with the genomic information, if you give, that also can create some problem, because I think all my friends who do the IBD analysis, identity by descent. So through IBD analysis, I can always tell that how the 10 genomes are related to each other. I can tell you that genome number 5 is the parent of genome number 4, genome number 4 and genome number 6 are sibling, like that. So from genomic data itself, I can always see who are the sibling, who are the parent, who are the offspring. So in one way, hiding the identity or the crucial information which is not going to hamper the study should be suggested. I mean, if you know that hiding the details like name and address and all these personal details, if that doesn't make any changes in your main hypothesis, then it's better to avoid all these things. And in fact, if you go through all this ethical and legal issue, it will make you ensure that you have to hide this thing. Now problem number 2 is that there are some cultural issue which is mostly like if a researcher used to share the data which he or she has created after toiling 6 or 7 months of hard work, then there is a possibility that somebody can excuse me, there is a possibility that somebody can take this data and to come with some new finding, and and finding new information of the data is possible with a superior hardware and superior software. So if your competitor is at a better position to churn out the data with a better hardware or good set of tools, then this is a problem, because the majority of the chunk of the information can be generated by someone, and that actually sometimes hamper this entire idea of data sharing. There is another problem which is technical, which is to deal much with the homogeneous amount of data. So since the data size is pretty vast, you need to create a lot of storage, and you need to go through a separate management criteria how to managing this data, how to make it robust and reliable, and then also what are the different type of embargo. That means who will access which amount of data, how much amount of data will be shared, how much will be hidden, and which researcher should get how much chunk of data, and what is actually the hierarchy of the data somebody should be accessible into. So managing all those things, it required a bit of technical cost, I would say. And also if to help this, there are so many of licensing organization like GNU and Common Creative License. There are several of them, but this problem do exist, and this is actually real challenge for data sharing. And the final problem is it's financial, because when you are saying that you want to share something and you want to share in a perpetual way for a few years, then creating a data pool or database on my server used to take a lot of financial aspect. Also ensuring that the software which is there to fetch the data to serve the client, as well as the connectivity bandwidth and the expertise to manage entire set of operation, from the storage to managing the searching and then connecting through bandwidth, they also comes with a certain amount of financial cost. So this ethical, cultural, technical and financial are the major problem for the data challenges. But apart from that, there are some other crucial things which is there hidden inside the data itself, which makes it further challenging. So we'll just go one by one. Now, one of the major factor which has been recently came into the picture is the data volume. Now you know that the big data is being increasingly used like in biological research and mostly in genomics and cancer studies. Now you'll be surprised to know that the European Mathematics Institute, that is EBI, it stores around 20 petabyte of data of only genomic domain, and it's doubling every year. And due to this advent of next generation sequencing tool, and also the very reduced cost of genomic profiling, now there are so many of researches and so many of grants and projects are going on which is solely designed with the aim to create new data out of this entire exercise. And over 390 petabyte of raw data storage was only found in 2022, in last year. So you can imagine the total number of experiment or the project which is going on, which are pretty data intensive. Now, when you have a petabyte of data to deal with, then there is actually a real problem, because how to access it or how to fetch it, where to store it. Okay, and also the biological data comes with the inherent problem that these are heterogeneous. Like it has been collected from a highly diverse type of population or sample size. The experiment may be different, and also the information which has been collected or generated for each of this data may be bit different from set to set. So the challenges is how to integrate or interpret this heterogeneous data, and then how to make a data pool which is somehow going to give you the entire perspective. And this is actually a complex problem, because if you don't have any metadata, then combining multiple data sources into one is actually pretty challenging. And this is because you need a unified ontology which is universally accepted for all such studies, but sadly we don't have such unified ontology. Just for example, if I'll say that the same data which is being part of two databases, they will have two different database ID. So you don't know how to map it from one ID perspective. We'll just search it. The same data is in another database with a different ID and different set of information. So this ID, foreign ID mapping, so primary key of one database mapped into the primary key of other database, it's also a bit more challenging. And also the problem is much more complicated, because there exists one to many and many to one relation. Because one, like just for example, if I'll say we have a gene, disease and drug database. Okay, So one disease can be resultant of multiple genes, whereas one drug can be, one disease can be solved by multiple drugs. So it's many to one and one to many mapping. So such type of scenario which gives a complex graph like attribute for searching, the things get much more interesting as well as complex when you want to make a shareable platform out of this entire set of data. Also, the analysis, that is sorting, storing, analyzing, comparing and sharing this large data set is pretty cumbersome, in the sense it need a lot of financial aspect, and then also the hardware and software to sustain this entire facility will also put some financial constraint. And also, in addition to that, there are some other way that instead of repeating this scenario, we can make some cloud to help us, but then also data transfer between the cloud is very slow, time consuming, and also it used to take a lot of effort in maintaining a high bandwidth connection while we try to transfer the data from one cloud to another cloud, or from one cloud to the client end. So although cloud is one of the best solution right now available, but it also has its own lacuna. This tells about that when you try to share the data through collaboration, and if the data has been generated from multiple partner of your or multiple collaborator, if we don't follow the unified ontology, sometimes the data looks like giving this spherical thing and circle and this cube simply says that same data can be collected in different way, and if you want to combine it to give a universal hypothesis out of this is pretty complicated, because you don't know how to combine, because the dimension associated with this data at both the collection center are different. So if you want to combine it, you need to again go through some loss here, data loss here, or some information will be lost while you want to integrate this thing into as a single source. And also when you do a lot of collaboration sharing, the licensing also used to take and the data transfer used to take a lot of financial aspect. Also the structured data, I told you just now, if you have structured data in one way, unstructured data in one way, also combining this and in a consistent format is also a task to be looked into. So how exactly people are taking different data from different sources and combining it together to make a complex pool of structured arrangement of this data. We'll be seeing one example in subsequent slide, but the entire purpose of this slide is to just tell that when you have data from multiple sources, and which essentially involves some of the unstructured data, then handling such data is much more complex. Okay, and to deal with the situation, you need to go through some of the metadata, like some information about the type of data you are dealing with. They will help out to integrate, analyze, and arrange the thing in a less redundant and more consistent way. There is also one of the situation which makes this sharing task difficult is the what type of data format we are using. Okay, like you have for genomic information, if I'll just give you an example, I am coming again and again to the genomics and proteomics, because I told in the very first few minutes that we'll be taking more and more examples from computational biology. So like you have just for example, you have BAM file, you have SAM file, you have BAM, you have SAM, and then also you have CRAN file. Yes, so BAM, SAM and CRAN all tells about almost similar information, but in a different way of standardization, different standardization criteria. So when you want to share the data, what universal format will be suggested for the entire set of data, that also need to be looked on before doing the data interoperability or exchange. So that means if you have two collaborators across the globe and you people are generating some experimentation or some observation protocol, then what is the type of format, what are the different attributes of this particular data, what are the different row and column to be stored, what are the different information, timestamps, all this intricate detail has to be ruled out or to chalked out before hand starting this experiment, because that gives a nice way to ensure a data interoperability and exchange process. Also, quality is a big issue when you have multiple source to be shared. Then few sources are very high quality data, whereas there may be some source where the error or the quality is not that good. So when you want to, mostly these are because of the inconsistency, duplication, and missing value. So when you want to merge this type of individual data into your data pool for sharing, then there comes a typical problem of data integration. So data need to be standardized, and the quality needs to be normalized before making any type of data integration process. Now I'll just go through the limited scalability and reusability issue of this particular data sharing process. So a non-normalized and non-standardized data structure can somehow hinder the scalability and reusability. Okay, so you know that when you try to access a large pool of data through any data sharing mechanism, then one of the most intensive tasks is input-output, IO operation we say. So that means when you try to run your algorithm or tools on that, then this tool or algo will somehow read the data into its buffer space. And this reading and writing this the intermediate result and the final result into the file, that used to take a lot of time. And to deal with such type of situation, people mostly try to use this type of large data into some conventional data structure, like the GitHub is using the Merkle tree. So there need to be some inherent data structure which can categorically deal with such type of scalable and reusability of your data. Also, recently the solution like NoSQL database, which also support the non-structured way of storing the data, or unstructured way of storing the data is possible, but it used to take a lot of time to deal with such type of scenario where the researcher need to do multiple custom transformation and data cleaning before using this particular set of shared data. Now also the data sharing also impact the insight depending on the quality. So the quality of the data which is structured itself are directly going to affect the reliability and accuracy of this analysis. So in one way it also matters a lot. So what type of quality and structure of the data you want to take into before sharing, that also matters a lot to justify what will be the final result out of it. Now, if I'll just summarize everything into one slide, it will be, this is very interesting to see that around 51% of the data which is clinically generated these days are never been used by other set of researchers. And the reason is either those data are not completely rebuilt, there are missing metadata information, or they are pre-processed data, they are not the raw data, or sometimes the data which is available are not exactly open to all. They need some commercial licensing agreement, And that is the region around 51% of data which is being used in clinical science are shared, but then nobody is using it because of this associated cost and pre-processing involved. And it also reveals that 46% of the scientists do not make their data clinically or electronically available. So that means it's actually both way we are going to hamper the entire scenario, because 46% of the scientists, they don't share the data, and around 50% of the scientists, they never use the 51% of data which is already being shared are never being used because of its its lacuna towards the quality, the pre-processing involved, and the licensing and the legal process which is required to face this data. So I'll just summarize the thing. Preparing the data for sharing is time consuming and it's pretty resource intensive. So most of the researchers find it a complicated task, and that is actually one of the reasons that data sharing is not a very adopted situation, at least for the country like us, where we work with very limited funding. So managing the scenario where we can share the data into the research community is a big hurdles. So I'll just try to chalk out what are the different data sharing barriers. So you have first the lack of access to data generated by other, that is insufficient data sharing policy, I just now suggested, and you don't have the funding for the data sharing, that is from the sharing point of view. Then some of the practical issue is that you have a researcher behavior associated here, which I told it's a cultural aspect, because you are reluctant to share the data because you fear for competition, because you know that your competitor are sitting with better resources, better hardware. They can churn your data with much more easier way, and they can come up with tons of other alternative hypotheses, so which you don't want. So that is also one of the reason, and also lack of awareness. In fact, if you see that the total percentage of people who are sharing the data in last 5 years are actually pretty more than the last decade. Okay, so slowly people are adapting to the situation that if you want to share some hypothesis or some data intensive work as a criteria to go for publication, then you should also make this data shared and publicly available. And the technical challenges are, I told you these are few of them, but we discussed a lot also other thing. So one is that there is inconsistency between the format, the quality and the standard. Sometimes it also fluctuates between from different source to source. So when you want to combine them together and to share it, you want to do a lot of other processing to make it normalization and enhance the quality. And also sometimes it also infrastructure limitation is one of the major criteria. When I say that can you share this data, then the first question is that how to share this much big amount of data, I mean without much of the financial cost. So these are few of the facts which makes this sharing not only hampered, but also it used to give some barrier for the sharing of the research data. Okay, so saying all these thing that I think you people are right now pretty sure that sharing the data generated through your experiment is much more crucial, not only for collaboration and publication, but also to maintain the robust scientific studies, that is through reproducibility and replication of your finding. But then with all these associated challenges which we have just now discussed for last half an hour or so, the question arises, then what to do? What is the solution out of this? So here I will start with a very straightforward way of dealing with such type of scenario, and this is also known as the FAIR convention or fair data adhere strategy. This has been defined by a consortium of scientists and organization in 2016. It's a pretty new one, and the FAIR stands for findability, accessibility, interoperability, and reusability. Okay, now we'll see that what are these four terms and how this makes this sharing much more effective and error free, and also much more standardized. So the first point of this FAIR practice is findability. So findability means you assign a unique identifier to every data, describing mostly its other information associated with this particular data generation or the experimentation. So effectively, for every data, there should be a series of metadata which tells that how it has been generated, in which condition, what are the different attributes while collecting this data has been taken into account. So we try to collect as much as possible of other information while this particular data collection and data curation is going on. And this any of such data which has a unique identifier and with a series of rich metadata, it should be stored in a searchable resource so that one can find it and search it. And one of the example is your DOI, digital object identifier. So when you try to publish a set of manuscript, it assign either it may be one peer-reviewed journal, or in fact these days most of the publication house, including the conference proceeding, they also come with a DOI number. Now DOI number assign a unique identifier to your the piece of manuscript which you have written, and it also has other metadata to identify it from other data in a much more unique way. Then second point is the accessibility. Accessibility is it is that how in what particular standardized communication protocol this data can be accessible. So either you make this data accessible through a known protocol like FDP or HTTP, or it's a file transfer protocol, or you can take HTTP protocol to share the data, or you are storing at some cloud where you need login to access it, or there are different way by which the authentication and communication protocol can be maintained to make the data accessible. But the bottom line is that it should be universally acceptable, and it should be associated with a unique key that is to increase its findability. The third point is the interoperability. Interoperability is nothing but it's like you should be able to use the shared and applicable language, knowledge representation, and employing vocabulary with FAIR principle, including to the reference to the other data if you have used. And the last point is reusability. Reusability is the rich description of the data with accurate attribute. I told when we were saying that metadata. So it's like the data should be reusable, because if you know every attribute, how what is the different type of licenses used to share the data, and what is the provision comes with this licenses, what is the attributes which makes this the user to feasible enough to share the data or cite the data. So what is the total number of flexibility so that the fellow can use this shared data or download this data and use it for his or her own research. So all those usability criteria should be associated with this fair practice of sharing the data. So if I have a series of data which is available with a particular license, then I have to agree to the terms and condition given in the license, that for every use of this data I need to cite it, I need to give citation to the user, the primary user who has shared this data, and there is series of such license and agreements or terms and condition associated with this license, which gives a mandatory adherence to the community standards. Okay, so we'll try to check that how these 4 points, findability, accessibility, interoperability, and usability, comes into the picture when you try to make a data sharing possible. Okay, so following are the solution or strategy which makes this sharing feasible. So the first point is to create a decentralized or distributed infrastructure. So when I'm saying decentralized, it's basically multiple organizations independently managing or supporting through their own technology a big database or a big set of data. And the advantage of having smaller component is that it is easy to store, but most of the time the funding which is associated with this piecemeal manner of storage of the data or sharing the data, it actually doesn't give you much of the funding, whereas there is a benefit of this thing, that it will take less time, less resource, and less technical expertise to manage the small chunk of data as a sharing partner. Similarly, if you have a large scale of funding, which often involves sharing resources among the numerous partner or collaborator, so it's difficult to manage. But then all those the group who are into big funded research project, they try to go for a large scale associated decentralized way of sharing or storing the data. But one of the problem is that every partner used to get a smaller allocation. So if you have a unified way of storing the thing, and then you are actually adding the same type of resources from every part of the globe, suppose it's a global project, and if the universal set of hardware and software has been managed, then it's actually the best thing that you can have a decentralized way of managing. So in this way, most of the data are also being shared as a mirror into different part of this location, so that it is actually easier to manage. Also, it's free from any accidental damage or accidental data loss strategy or scenario. Now, this type of model, which is based on decentralization and distributed infrastructure, they offers flexibility and redundancy, because I told that if one particular server is damaged or one particular node is damaged, you have other node which has a redundant copy of the same shared data, and which can somehow ensure a no loss scenario. There may be accident or there may be any situation arising in one node, but you cannot expect that the same thing is happening across the globe everywhere. Okay. So that is actually one of the reasons that to ensure the interoperability and effective management of the operational cost, we do a decentralized way of storing the data, that is data sharing. Here the cost will be less, the management will be easier, and then since you have flexibility on the terms of redundancy, the data loss will be minimal or close to zero. So another strategy which is solely for all those data which are not very heavy, but not into petabyte scenario, but yes, cloud based storage comes as one of the solution. So they offer a flexible and scalable resources which somehow gives efficient management tool or client end, where multiple client or multiple computing platform can join together. They can share the resource, collaborate, and benefit. The beautiful thing with cloud is that the management of this entire cloud is pretty more easier, because all these software or tools which can be used on this data need not be installed every part. It's there in cloud, and if you want to just use it, you can use those things through your login. The data will be there. An instance of the data will be created for you. You try to play with the data, you try to analyze it, and you try to process it through a series of tools, which is also cloud, part of cloud. So, and then you can also share your result or the hypothesis with the other collaborator. So managing this type of cloud-based storage and computing on this, the data which is available on the cloud-based storage is right now the call of the day. In fact, most of the work, including the big projects, are managed through the cloud service by the Amazon and Google. So they have the coding environment where you can code, they have the storing environment where you can store. They have different type of tools to do the exploratory analysis. You can analyze the data, you can visualize the data, and you can share the data. So I mean, cloud-based storage is one of the very promising solution for recent day data sharing. And by consolidating the management, curation, and processing data into a single resource, obviously the overall cost of this such type of scenario where it's a cloud-based storage is much less, because the management, curation, and processing need to be only at one point, and the same thing will be reflected for every client who is using this cloud-based storage. So in one way, it's pretty easy to manage, and also the overall operation cost to run this initiative or such storage scenario, it's pretty less. So cloud-based storage is one of the very preferred solution these days. And also when you try to share the data, it's always better to automate the process, because you know that right now there are so many of version control available for storing the computational analysis code. That is something like your GitHub, and also where you can also have some scenario where you can use the Docker, and Docker is a way to create a platform independent environment for multiple operating system level to use this particular data and to analyze it with a fixed strategy. So you can create your own pipeline, and you can use multiple tools into the pipeline to study the data and to analyze the data, and all can be part of the Docker, so that it makes this analysis pretty much platform independent. Then there are right now people are using the interactive computational cell through browser itself. You have this Jupyter, IPython, then you have in Google also it gives a option to Google Colab. So people, you can store the information, you can try it there, and you can share it also. So if the method, the associated data, and the result, along with the analysis and conclusion, with all these beautiful graphs and exploratory analysis can be shared, then it makes it less error prone, and also tracking the development through time also helps someone to not to waste time into reinventing the wheel. So if I have developed something, I have created some exploratory analysis on the same data. If somebody want to do something, they can directly call my piece of my snippet of code. They can try it, and they can further make it some other analysis on that. So in one way, automation of this process using code and repository in a different way of storing in a version control scenario is it actually helps to reduce the error and create pipelines for research data analysis, and also it helps the user to only take that part of analysis which is required for his work, instead of going through from the very start, doing all the pre-processing, coming back to the data and then playing with it. We can directly call in between and check that how the data is of our use. So in one way, automation process also make this process much more faster and more goal oriented and objective oriented. So if I exactly want to do a particular thing, instead of starting from the very start, I'll simply use the other code which has been written by somebody else, because I know that how it looks like, where it is and where is the data is, and then only that part of the information which is required by me I can write, I can save, and I can interpret. Okay, so this is the way by which we can that actually makes this data sharing much more because data is not only the collection of genomic information, it's also all those algorithm and tools which is written to study this genomic information. So to deal with such type of codes and the versions of code, automate processing is very much required. Now, one of the very interesting thing I've also think that I should discuss with you, this is in very first few minutes I told that when you are combining multiple source of data as a one source, then it has the concept of heterogeneity. Heterogeneity means it is mostly in clinical trial or the clinical trial experiment where different studies are being conducted by a different group with different sample size, and then finally the idea is that can I go through all these individual study which has been done across the year. So here the example I have given, like this is one of the study from 2021 BMJ, and this tells that there are around I think 8 of them, yes, 8 of these studies have been used to come up with a complete scenario by assuming every source, 8 source as a unique source, and they are pulled together, and after combining all these 8 sources, we have taken some analysis out of this. Now this type of analysis is also known as meta-analysis. This is very popular in clinical trial data management. So the pooled result which we are combining and deriving from the multiple sources, they often have some inherent problem, because since all these studies are being done at different part of the world, they are using different type of population, different set of genders, like in one population there may be 50% male and female, and but in one population there can be only 20% male and remaining are female. So how to combine this data and how to make this this particular unique pool of the data how you can create, and that can be done through a very simple analysis known as the forest plot. And I think I should take few minutes just to tell what exactly is forest plot and how it looks like, and it's pretty interesting. You can please go through this. You can simply try forest plot and you will get a lot of information about this. So now the leftmost column of this forest plot is nothing but these are the unique ID or which tells about the author. That is, the first one is the Dyson in 2010. It means the setup author, this is the first author Dyson, and the year of the study is 2010. Similarly, then we have Johnson 2009. So these are nothing but the studies and the publication year. So it will give you an idea that which particular study we have taken into account, or which particular set of data we are actually trying to combine it together. So if you see here, there are 8 such or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 such group of studies are being done here. No, I think it's 8. Yeah. So there are 8 group of studies are being done here, and all these 8 are from different part of the world. But yes, they all are having targeting the same hypothesis. So just imagine that suppose we are giving a drug X, and the X drug has been given to some disease condition and some control. So here in second column you will find experimentation and control group, and then they have seen that whether this drug is effective or not. So suppose my hypothesis is that I am saying that drug is effective. So column 2 and column 3 tells about the group size. Okay. So here this n by n in both the case. So experimental n by n and control 1 by. So here it is 3 by 6 and control is 1 by 6. So this n by n tells about that what are the total number of individual which are participating in this particular studies from control case and from healthy cases. So the top figure here 3 by 6, if I will take example here. So Dyson study in 2010, it has given a study of 3 by 6. It's actually three number of patients have a outcome of interest. So outcome of interest is nothing but my hypothesis which I have created, saying that drug X is effective. Okay, so if it is effective in 3 cases out of 6, so it's 3 by 6. While the remaining studies which say that the 1 by 6, it says that in one case there is the output is not up to the outcome of interest, or it's against the hypothesis. Okay, so similarly you can go through every such study which tells about the idea that how many fellow are receiving this particular drug. So this is actually one set of 8 pool of different data shared. My idea is just to tell you that how you can combine this shared pool of data as a single entity, as a single pool, and you can do the analysis on this. So if you see this next column, that is the graph is there, and it's in fact known as forest plot. So this displays the study result. The boxes here shows the effect estimate from the single study, with the diamond mark shows the pooled result. Okay, so all these boxes which are, so these are the rhombus shape here, they are actually the individual study, sorry. And the last line which says the total 95% CI value, so it says that in total or overall that particular that gives a overall idea that how the study results look like. Now you will see a horizontal line is also there. So horizontal line for every boxes illustrate the length of this confidence interval. Okay, so longer the line, wider the confidence interval, and less reliable the study's result is. Okay, so if the width of the diamond serve the same purpose, width of the diamond as well as the line, they are showing the same purpose. If they are more longer, so that means the confidence level interval is higher, and it's a less reliable studies. Similarly, you will have a vertical line here, and vertical line has also called the line of no effect. So if the outcome of this interest is adverse, that is, suppose my mortality is more, if you are giving that particular drug X, and if you are having more and more mortalities, then the result to the left of the vertical line favors the hypothesis, whereas to the right of this thing it favors the alternate hypothesis. Similarly, the outcome of the interest, if it is desirable, that means if my hypothesis is created in a positive way, that means the drug is acting in a positive way, or the drug is acting, then I'll say the result of the right of this vertical line favors the treatment over the control. And if the result estimates are located on the right, it means that the outcome of the interest occurs more frequently than the intervention group. That is nothing but your control group here. So in one way, if you see this particular plot, it has also there is a weight column here, that is the 5th column. It tells about the percentage of the influence of individual study, which is on the entire pool of the data. So in general, bigger the sample size and narrower the confidence interval, that is the CI, that is the 4th column. So if it is narrower and the size of the data is more, then higher is the percentage of weight we want to give to this particular study. So if you see this this entire study, which is there in the slide, so maximum percentage has been given to the study in sixth one. Yes, it's sixth. So yeah, it's sixth one because it has maximum number of sample. If you see, as well as the second criteria is also fulfilled because the confidence interval is narrower. And the final is the the CI, or the we say that this is the relative index. The relative index of 95% is fixed. It means that we can observe the data in both the picture or in number. So it can be either 95% CI of odd ratio or 95% CI of relative risk. Okay. So the diagram shows some of the relative risk of every group of study, and the p-value, which is also there, it suggested that what is the level of statistical significance if the diamond shape doesn't touch the line of no effect. So here it's not touching because the no effect line is the vertical line. So if it is not touching, then it's okay, or else there is no entirely this study doesn't have anything what is that? I mean, it's not a relevant study, you can say, or statistical significant study, you can say. So just what I'm saying that just by using one of the plot like forest plot, you can combine together multiple studies which are of different geographical point across different years with different sample and gender we can increase. So there is also a lot more different way by which you can combine different data group of multiple gender, multiple age group, and through doing this type of forest plot analysis, we can somehow make a pool out of this, and it's highly useful for making meta-analysis. That means combining multiple sources, shared data, and to make a single source analysis out of this. So I hope you can study through meta-analysis, and because that is not part of this entire session, but it's pretty interesting that how effectively through statistics you can combine multiple group of data into one group. It will help you out if you can please go through this forest plot, more basics into forest plot. Now, the another strategy is also to create a scenario of reproducibility. So that means I think that like whenever you are sharing some data, you also have to when you are sharing your data as well as your interpretation or the analysis on the data, then almost all the standardized data format you have used and all those metadata which has been used for this analysis, and this should be also mentioned here so that it will facilitate another user to replicate your work and to find the similar type of result which you are getting, and that makes the science much more fascinating because it actually also ensures the reproducibility of the similar type of analysis tools or software if used on the same data. Okay. Now, implementation version control such as Git enables the tracking change in the data analysis code over time, because if you want to analyze some data and after a few months you find that there is a better way to analyze, then you can store that in Git as a next version, so that if somebody else is using your data, they can always check that what are different version of the code or the analysis you have done and how the result is getting differed from each other, so that she or he can try it on the same data. Also, the comprehensive documentation with the data processing steps, how you have done the analysis, what are the different methodology you followed, what are the software you have used, what are the dependency or the library which is or the driver which is required to install the software. That is also you have to mention, is that very much crucial for the reproducibility of this entire work. Then utilizing the workflow management system, like by taking the help of Nextflow or the SnakeMake, they make the structure and automate the complex data analysis pipeline. I think you all know that through Nextflow and SnakeMake management system, you can create a pipeline of your own where you can combine together different existing tools or algorithm. You can make your own tools and you can write your own algorithm and you can plug into the pipeline to see that how beautifully this data can be analyzed. So supposingly to analyze my data, I need 4 or 5 different steps of pre-processing, which I don't want to again write down my code because there is no point of reinventing the wheel. So I can simply make a pipeline where I can put all those 5 or 6 different tools which I need for pre-processing, and then at the 6th part I can plug in my own code and the entire system of analysis pipeline will be ready, and you can use the concept of Docker, and you can make this pipeline inside a Docker, and you can share your data as well as along with your Docker you can share it. Now, implementing the continuous integration and continuous deployment practices automate the testing, integration, and deployment of the code changes. So this is also when you try to implement it and then integrate it into the system, you find some problem, then you try to change the version, and this practices makes your system much more error free, and almost all the code changes which you are doing during the deployment can be also saved as the different version. So here we'll try to take one example, and this example is very known analysis platform. This is also known as Galaxy. So Galaxy project is it is mostly for dealing with genomics data, and I would say mostly for design for next generation sequencing data, which is nothing but it has a lot of different tool set by which we can analyze the data, and every tool sets are standardized and with very good documentation, excuse me. And then this Galaxy project is also valuable resources for analyzing data in genomic science and other data intensive field like RNA-seq analysis and all those things. So scientists can easily manage their data and share reproducible analysis using open source software. Okay, so it support diverse type of analysis and ensure reproducibility by performing data manipulation. That is through its thousands of integrated tools. Now it also provides an interactive workflow manager, preload reference data sets, and various visualization tools so that you can see the data from different perspectives and you can visualize your analysis in a much more fascinating way. Now, since 2005, the project community offers free computing services and comprehensive training material. And in fact, if you just make a login on your this particular Galaxy, you will be exposed to multiple such training material, and it also gives a limited data storage facility to you to share the data also, and to make your data visible to your peer and your collaborator. Now, mostly the Galaxy platform are being used for currently for this work, the series of work I have given in this plot, that is data transfer, phylogeny, transcriptomic analysis, variant calling, and text manipulation also. So the primary objective of Galaxy platform are to democratize the data analysis by the user, for the user, and of the user, enhance reproducibility, and also it is a way to foster the collaboration, because I told you that you can store and share your code as well as your analysis, or sorry, not code, your analysis and your data with others, so that others can also see and justify the beauty of your analysis and your work. So it adopted a collaborative and community-driven approach involving user, educator, developer, and administrator worldwide. It has a very good forum which people are very friendly. They can help you out. So if you are finding any problem in the using this particular platform, you have multiple such forum on net who they are always there to help. And also it also emphasizes a user-friendly interface with a standardized workflow and a standard set of tool which ensure a reproducibility of your result. The success of Galaxy platform has also found to be pretty remarkable, because if you see the number of users, we have already around 10,000 active users per month, and 400 terabytes of data are processed monthly. In fact, this is actually old statistics. I think this number is much more now. And also this has created a lot of good publication in last 2 decades or 1 decade or so. So the factor contributing to the success is that it has an active and diverse global community of researcher, educator, and developer. But the thing which makes it much more successful is that it has integrated numerous tools or packages, and these all are very gold standard in the sense that they all ensure a reproducibility into their scenario. So it highlights the importance of user-centric design, collaboration, and community engagement through tools, workflow, and data sharing. And they also are backed with, I told you that, with training material for using and operating this particular platform. So before winding up, I like to again summarize that then with all these introduction, challenges, and strategy. So let's close this session with some of the best practices which should be followed. So the first best practice is that check for existing database. If currently whatever you are doing, if it is available into some data set, then there is no point of again doing the same thing, because it's already, the things are going into petabyte scenario and big data scenario right now. So if you are trying to study particular hypothesis, first try to check on internet that if this particular data set which you are interested into is available or not. So if it is available, there is no point of going through the entire set of data generation or resource management. You can directly use it, data which has been shared by someone else. If it is free to, if it is shared with some condition that you can use it for your research purpose, then if you are finding that there is no sufficient data available and you want to do some hypothesis testing, and for which you think that you should create your own data, then the best thing is to create a experiment design. And one of the very prime thing before doing the experimentation started is that you have to create a consent form. There are so many of consent form, formal way of taking the consent is already there in part of your ethics committee. I think if your institute is having ethics committee, they will help you out how to write this consent form. I have also seen the researcher used to take the help from the experts from outside to create this, design this consent form, and the research data can only be shared if a consent has been given by the participants. Okay, and if the privacy is not anonymized, and then nobody is going to share the data. So if you want to create experimentation, the first thing is that you have to create a very clearly written consent form where you have to take the consent from the user that you are going to study the data and you are going to share it in future. Although you can put some clause of anonymity, how you are going to protect their identity, how you are going to de-identify their information. Those things you can also write there, that your name, all these details of phone number, personal address, contact number, all these things will be totally protected. So what are the different information which you want to share, your gender, your age, your height, and all these things, whatever, depending on the type of study you are doing. So this should be clearly written on the consent form. Otherwise, the data sharing, if you are sharing it, there is a big problem with legal and other ethical issues. Now, the third point is that before doing the live data recording or collection, you test your tools, because since most of the data intensive work or the project, they are into multiple location and with multiple tools. If there is no sync between the tools, the same type of data, the similar type of data can be collected and documented as a different series of result. So test all your tools before your data live collection. You have to also synchronize the tools, that all these, like just for example, if you want to take the blood pressure of or some of the biochemical parameter of every sample from which you want to take the genomic information. If you want to take 1 or 2 ml of blood from every fellow to get their genomic profiling, before that you want to do some biochemical test, or you want to do some physiological test like blood pressure or ECG. So all those experimental tools which you are using should be standardized. They should give same result for same person, even if the tools are different, and that helps your data more and more normalized, and it's also error free. So once you have collected the mock data, do all your variable selection, descriptive and metadata collection, just to check that what are the missing point and missing link. And once you are pretty sure that everything is working fine, then you can go for the real data collection work. Now once the collection is over, then you have to go for the most crucial one, that is the ethical and legal issue, that is choose a copyright license of your data. It will help you to protect your cause. It will help you to share also. It will help you to get citation also, and it will also help you to act as a pillar stone into the reproducibility or reusability of the data. So if you have this license, people will cite you and they will cite your work, or they will use the same series of information which you have given before claiming that the work is supporting a hypothesis, or it's supporting the alternative hypothesis. And there are some licensing agreement which is freely available. These are all are like, I know all of you have known this. This is creating common license. You have also for code. If you are writing a analysis pipeline or code, you can get it licensed through GNU public license GPL, or if you have manuscript written or some white paper or draft paper written, you can get a DOI. So these all are different way to copyright your work through one of the tools available. Either it's a license tool or it's a unique identifier like DOI. Then once you do this legal thing, okay, then the first work is that after collection you have to de-identify the sensitive data. So de-identify means you have to take all those data which you want to make public, remove or alter those identifiers that may lead to the identification of the individual participant who have given the consent to collect their data. Yes, so it is your role, or our role rather, to ensure that the consent form, the terms and condition of the consent form is being manifested in toto, and this de-identification process often include process like barcoding the data, giving some alphanumeric value where all this information which are crucial for the identification, and for the individual participant we can hide it through using some hash key, or to use some barcode instead of a name or a ID. But obviously there will be few data which need to be analyzed, and it should be given in the way it is. And although there are most of the database are using the normalized way, they will first pre-process it, normalize it, then share it. But I think those data which has a raw data with anonymized variation, control, those are actually better and having a higher success rate of finding something new there, because those data has not been tampered with a set of pre-processing tools. So the reason of telling is that if you have two different data sets, which one is having raw data and one is having processed data, so if you will take the raw data and start developing your own tools and algorithm or analysis, the chance of getting success is actually more in that case. Okay, now the sixth point is the sixth point within the best practices of data sharing is that once you define what access availability your data and what access availability your data will have. So depending on the nature of data set and the feasibility to remove all the identifier, researcher may choose to share their data in a controlled way. So that means we can create multiple level and limited access with every level. So there is hierarchical level of data. So only the curator of the data knows every data, every metadata, and every information associated. Whereas all those researchers which are working on curator, they will be only seeing a part of the data, but not the entire set of metadata. And similarly, third or secondary user, they can see the data along with some other things. So that means the entire pyramid of your experimentation and the the observation which you have conducted, you can create multiple hierarchy level on that, and depending on the legal and ethical practice and the consent form which you have signed, you can assign multiple level and multiple access limit, so that different set of people can get different perspective of your data which you have shared. Now, point number 7 is that somebody who is into the sharing process need to organize the data to comply with the FAIR principle. And the FAIR principle, I have already told you that it ensures the findability and the interoperability process in the data sharing. The FAIR data principles are set of guiding principles that makes data findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Okay, so in that way, we after finding that which level and which hierarchy of access is maintained, then we can use the FAIR strategy of sharing. And the FAIR strategy we have already gone through few slides back, that what exactly is FAIR strategy. And then final point is that you choose a research data repository which is the most suitable for you. Sometimes if you are creating only a series of NLP or NLP related work, then I think a simple storing the thing with DOI and a version control of code repository will be sufficient. But depending on the type of data, if you are using an image directory, if you are dealing with some OPG image or MRI image, then the type of data storage you will be selecting, because it all depends that what should be the findability. Findability means if somebody is coming and searching here according to the FAIR principle, it should be findable. So if you are using a particular type of data, depending on that, you have to find what is the repository which is the most suitable and which allow you to preserve the data over a long time, and with a condition that this data should be findable by others, so that it is easily citable, or it will be easily citable. So depending on that, there are multiple such repository which actually differs from each other the way we try to store the data. But to be very frank, most of the repository are right now doing, they are not very specific for a kind of data, although they gives the option for almost all type of data storage or sharing. Here I have tried to list out a few of them. So first one is it's known as the FigShare. And look, apart from this 5, there are tons of other, there are dozens of other, but then I have tried to take out only a bunch of them which are available with open access facility, and also few of them are having a limit up to a certain limit. It's free. Beyond that, you need to pay minimal fees. So first one is the FigShare. FigShare is an open access data repository where researchers can preserve their research output and data set, such as images, videos, and make them discoverable, that is findable. Then you have metadata. It's you all know that is open research repository where researcher can store and share the data, and it can you can share it privately between individual, something like a Dropbox, and also you can make it public. Okay. Then you have Dryad. Dryad is it's a freely reusable and citable way of storing and sharing is there. And then you have the very famous Hava Dataverse. Dataverse is based on the open source web application known as Dataverse. And then this Hava Dataverse is online repository where scientists can preserve, share, cite, and explore different research data. One of the recent addition is OSF, that is free open source research management forum through forum, and this collaboration tool designed to help researchers to document their project life cycle. It's kind of project management where you can archive your materials and you can design your project. You can create a timeline or PERT diagram of your project. You can assign who are the collaborator, which particular collaborator should see how much amount of data, what is the visualization level accessible for every collaborator. So all this can be managed through a single platform, that is OSF, that is open source research management and collaborator tools platform. It's built and maintained by a non-profit center for open science. So you can go through the OSF. It's a good one. It's also free. So I think I have gone through the mandate given to me by Professor Mala that we need to go through a few of the intricate details of data sharing and what are the different associated technical challenges and complication associated and how to get rid of this. And also we have finished our session with a take-home message, that is the 8 point to share the data. And along with that also I have tried to give you some of the references of some of the open source data sharing scenario which you can use it to try it on your own. So thank you so much for this invitation as well as giving the time, your valuable time. I know that time is the most costly thing these days. So thank you for your patience, and I think you people are doing an amazing job, just doing something which should be close to almost every researcher, that how to deal with the ethical issues while doing the research. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, the organizer, for extending this opportunity. Now I am free for the question answer session, and I'll be taking. You can write down this question if you required. You can write down, or you can. So somebody else from the forum or the podium can please read the question, and I'll be happy to answer a few of them. So thank you so much. Thank you once again for your patience and nice sharing. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for a very elaborated and nice presentation. And I'm sure that we will get benefited out of it, how to share data and what are the different platforms that can be used. So I request Dr. Manish Dwivedi to proceed ahead in this session.
Okay, thank you, Professor Bhardwaj. It was really very informative talk, as Professor Mala said. And I would now request if from the participant, if any of you have any questions, so please you may raise your hand, and we can directly, you can directly discuss with the Professor Bhardwaj, and you can interact with him, and so that would be great if you can raise your hand. Okay, so I got one question in in question answer box. Professor Bhardwaj, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm just going through things. How can we differentiate between data and data repository and supplementary data?
Yes. So
Is it the question you are referring, Manish?
Yeah, this one, the same one. The question asked by Dr. Garima Awasthi, who she's asking that how can we differentiate between data for data repository and supplementary data?
Okay. So Garima ji, the question is, there is no golden rule which can differentiate between the data for the repository and then data for a supplementary set of data set. The only thing is that when you are going through the repository submission, the data should have all its attributes, like all the metadata, the collection point, the date associated, the number of samples, the dimension, the different attributes which we are recording, and so that all these metadata are tangled with this entire set of raw data, so that if you allow to get it shared through any repository, anybody who is going through your accessing your data, either in a complete way or in a partial way, they can deduce some information out of it. Whereas the supplementary data is you have already made some data available, and you want to tag few more evidence to justify your hypothesis, but due to the limited time constraint or the page constraint or the forum or the portal where your study is published, you cannot put the entire set of data. But then you say that since I have created this hypothesis or this story, there are few set of data which also creating the same inference or telling the same story. But since I cannot put every data into one portal, so I'll say that this part will be available as a supplementary data as a separate link, so that if anybody want, he or she can go through the supplementary data, and it is going to enhance the reproducibility criteria. I hope I'm clear.
Okay, Professor Bharadwaj, I hope you would have got her also. So, anyone else? If you can also raise your hand. Okay, so I think there is no more question here. Professor Bharadwaj, I have one thing to discuss with you here. As you have explained very well, data sharing management and their problems and how we can resolve all these issues related to data sharing, basically. So the things that came to my mind that basically like there are number of database resources and servers are available nowadays. So how we can identify the best database suitable for the particular data to share? Like, is there any criteria, or there should be any particular ideal properties or ideal characteristics with the database or servers that should be kept in mind before we share the data with the particular databases or servers?
Well, Manishi, thank you. The shortest answer to your question is no. There is no golden rule, or there is no way to know that what is the best database. But it all depends on what type of work you want to do.
Yeah.
So, as you know, that biological database are primarily three types. One is your primary database, where the user can directly put their information into. Like if you are doing some study on some plant or animal, you manage to get some raw data, genomic data, and you want to publish it. So there is some primary database like NCBI where you can upload it. Then there are some secondary database which try to deduce the information like some annotation, gene annotation, and all these things. And there is some tertiary database which try to mine the information from secondary and then further give the information. So if you want to play with the knowledge level, then you can directly take this secondary and tertiary data. But if you want to deduce some new hypothesis, it's always better to put primary data. But accessing the database has its own limitation as well as disadvantage also, because as you know, the primary database is a lot of error are there, redundancy is there, and credibility is less. Whereas if you are going for a tertiary database, it's more credible, less redundant. But then the perspective of the study is only one-sided. Like somebody has worked on that data and they have given you one facet, one story, and you can see only that story. Although there are so many other things which is there in the raw data. So it all depends that what exactly you want to fetch, what exactly you want to analyze, and depending on that, you can access different level of. I hope I'm clear.
Oh, yes, right. So, and one more thing just came to my mind, that like because the investigator or researcher has to prepare the data and everything accordingly or according to the database or servers they required actually. So, is there any such? Do you have any such databases or servers who provide like service from their own side to prepare the data, to make the data out of any research work or something? Like sometimes we do the research, but we don't make the data like way to submit or share it somewhere. It just
Actually, OSF, if you see in the last slide, OSF Open Source Science
yes,
Forum,
yes.
they give some tentative chart. Or in fact, right now the Springer, if I'm not sure, they came with their own data portal as well as Willy. So if you're submitting any new journal publication to Springer and Willy, immediately you will get a this thing. So they have a pretty well-defined ontology. So this will help the user. I mean, you don't have to think how to arrange. You simply
Exactly,
given the data, they will arrange on your behalf. That's how the things are going. They are calling it the concept of data lake. So it's
yes.
not database, it's a lake.
With
That
the
means
lake,
there is
okay.
no structure. You put
Wow.
everything there, they will arrange, maintaining
Mhm.
the fair, that is findability, accessibility, interoperability.
Okay. So sometime once we submit our any research work for publication, then they also ask for if you have any data to share with us, right?
That's what
So
that's what I'm saying.
that's
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, so that's what I wanted to discuss with you. If Professor Mala, if you have something to say or you want to discuss, Professor
Sir, I
Dardashir.
just want to, I just want to ask, when we look for a plant database or particularly horticultural crops, very limited data is there. What would be the reason, in case you can, because I am basically working
Ma'am,
on plants.
I know that in India there are a lot of plant researches going on, and we have sufficiently good amount of data and very high quality data. You believe me, because I happens to be member of one of the group where Rajiv Barsne and these people are there. They're creating hell of top data, and ICRISAT is one of the pioneer in creating all this plant related data. Only thing is that I told you that it's more of a cultural issue. Because if I am generating my data, it's my big share should be into the data. So that is the constraint people are not sharing. In fact, if you know, there is one organization in Kanpur, I just forget, it's Pulse Research. I think,
IPR.
IIPR.
yeah. So they are also creating some recently, they have created some fungi genomic repository. It's more of those fungi which are targeting the pulse
Pulses.
plantation. But that is the problem. They say that let's publish. Then there are some constraint also, you know, that I shouldn't say in this forum, but
Yes.
all these premier DST, DBT, CSR, they have a very stringent data sharing policy. So scientists or academicians have to go through the process, and that's all. I don't want to make it go further. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
There's one question in the question box here, Dr. Bharadwaj. So this is from Dr. Radhe Kaushal. He's asking that he want to know research data redundancy and its sharing in public domain. If you can read that.
So Dr. Radhe, it's possible that while you are doing the data sharing enabled for your own research, there is a possibility that it's redundant, although it will not be completely redundant, but yes, few entry of you may be redundant. And that is the reason I told you that when you are doing the research, you start to the point number one of the take home message. It says that whatever hypothesis you are building, if you imagine that such data is already there, so don't do it again, because you are putting more and more instances. But you cannot go ahead out of this scenario. Yes, redundancy will be there because there are multiple persons across the globe doing same thing. Yeah, that is one challenge you have to live with.
Okay. Okay, so thank you, Professor Bharadwaj. I think we have taken all the questions, and I think, and Professor Mala, if you want to say something or want to discuss, or should we go for closing?
I think if there's no question, we can conclude this session.
Yes. So now, Professor Bharadwaj, I think I should conclude here the session, and I wish to take a moment to express my heartfelt appreciation for your enlightening talk on various practices on research data sharing. And I'm sure your extensive insight have made a lasting impact on all participants joined here. And your talk basically shed a light on crucial importance of sharing research data, its benefits, which may include like transparency, collaborations, research accelerations, reproducibility, data citations, and many more things, as well as also have discussed about various drawbacks which could be associated with data sharing, like ethical, legal issues, or maybe cultural, technical, financial, and many more things. And also you have talked about like how we can overcome such issues, and giving a one case study using Galaxy, mentioning the Galaxy, I think, servers, right? So that you have talked about, like in my view, you have covered whole many aspects related to the data sharing, starting from benefits, problems, strategy to resolve these problems, and also what we can do, or how we can basically proceed with for the best practices in that data sharing. It was really very much enlightening to us, and that shows this profound, or you can say like that shows the profound implication of these data sharing and management for scientific progress. So furthermore, I would like to express my gratitude for addressing all these potential challenges and concerns associated with the data sharing, and your detailed explanations on data management and sharing may serve as a powerful call to action, and also the motivation to embrace the culture of openness, and also to enhance the collaboration in research. So once again, I extend my deepest gratitude, Professor
Thank you,
Bhardwaj,
Manish ji.
for
Thank you
sharing your
so much.
expertise and
And
enlightening with us.
thank you, Professor Mala, for this kind invitation and the constant perusal, and that. And then I should
Yes.
also, before ending this session, I should also thanks to Dr. Iyer, who is there behind the screen,
Yes.
who is managing multiple things. He's connecting and plugging together. So my sincere congratulations and thank you to Dr. Iyer. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Professor
so much.
That's
Bhardwaj.
it. We'll be meeting sometime else soon. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Manish
much,
ji.
sir.
Thank you, Mel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Most
Thank you,
welcome.
Dr. Iyer.
Okay, so thank you all participants for your presence here. And tomorrow we have day 4. So please join at the same time using same link. And we will have the talk from Dr. Vivekanand. And he's from, I think, Center for Energy Environment, Malviya National Institute of Technology, Jaipur. So we can meet tomorrow again, and we'll have more discussion over it. Thank you, everyone. See you again.
Thank you.